My name is David Penner, and this is my case study, Truman Elementary School, Module 15, AEP 858. Category 1 is problem identification and analysis. It asks us to identify what do you know, and from this case study we can identify that Truman consists of 700 students. It is the largest elementary school in the district with about 3 classes at each grade level. 15% of the school qualifies for the free and reduced lunch. 5% of the school speaks a primary language other than English. And the principal has now been at the school for 2 years and has moved into this position from within the district. We also know that the state reading scores are low compared to the state math scores. Grade is also a concern, the gaps between those. Negative perception from parents that they have on the reading instruction that's going on at the school. And then the PTO wants these concerns addressed at the next meeting. And the principal and the district reading supervisor go about creating a reflection, also recommendations on how to improve the instruction that's taking place in the classroom. So what do we need to know? We need to know what present reading interventions are taking place at Truman, what are the other reading scores for the other elementary schools within the district, and how do we compare with those? And then what support or professional development will the staff need in order to improve these areas? And then how does the basal instruction fit into the Common Core Standards approach? And is there a need for a new reading program? Identifying the problem has to deal with the fact that Truman Elementary has shown no growth in the student reading levels. The reading program is not based on effective research. Both the content and the delivery are not effective. Differentiated instruction is not taking place within the classroom, and the allotted time for reading is not enough or beneficial to the students. And there's no consistent classroom routine as to when this reading takes place within the day. Category 2 is identifying the plan of action. In my plan of action, I have 5 steps. The first one is build a curriculum team. Provide professional development for the staff would be the second one. Third would be to apply for the grant. And then 4, change the school schedule. And then 5, inform parents, PTOs, and other stakeholders. So step 1, building the curriculum team. I believe this team should be made up of members such as the district reading supervisor, any other district reading specialists that are available, or school specialists. Teachers, 1 from each grade level, should at least be represented. Myself as the principal, and then even the superintendent as well. Our goal would be to use the data to collectively work together to address the unbalances in the reading elements, both the phonemic and the phonetic skills, the reading comprehension, integrated reading and writing. All of those need more attention. And then develop a plan that focuses more time for the language arts instructions, and then also choose a program that may better benefit the needs of our students. Step 2 would be to provide professional development for the staff. This would be for the whole staff, and I believe it's important that this gets started at the beginning of the next school year. It needs to be focusing on differentiated instruction strategies, but also strategies that can be used in order to help increase our reading levels. And there's gaps between our teachers and the uses of these strategies, and those need to be closed as well. We need to also provide time within the early part of the year for those inexperienced or struggling teachers to observe experienced teachers and allow for them to learn through those observations. Step 3, we need to apply for the grant. Use the data that we have already collected in order to provide for the Every Student Succeeds Act grant. I believe that we do have enough information with that in order to make this application and send it in. We have demonstrated that we do have gaps. We do have a relatively high poverty rate, which is at 15%. We also have gone about analyzing our student achievement and developing a process in which we can continue that. And then also we have been made aware of the need for a new reading program within our school. Step 4 would go with changing the schedule. 1 hour a day is not enough time. It's inadequate for the language arts instruction. And so we need to come up with a higher minimum amount of time that each teacher needs to spend on reading and reading instruction. We need to look at changing the schedule so that we can give our teachers a common plan. And during this, they could either team plan during that period or also use the data that has been collected and analyze that and how they want to go about regrouping students or even the strategies that they need within the classroom. And then we need to include in the schedule remedial classes for our Tier 2 and our Tier 3 students so that they can get the extra attention that they need in order to get caught back up. Step 5, we need to inform parents, the PTOs, and the other stakeholders. By sending out a newsletter to the district parents, we are informing them of the changes that will be made to the schedule for the next year. We will contact the PTO president and inform the PTO members of the efforts that we're putting forth in order to create this positive change, and then also publish these changes onto the district and school website for other public members to be made aware. Category 3 is resolution. So in our resolution, we need to identify what is best for all students. First, that is individualized instruction, which would be changes to classroom instruction techniques and the class schedule. This will allow for more time to be spent addressing the individual needs of our students, and then give more time to address those student gaps by giving us differentiated instruction strategies, and then also creating classes, remedial classes for those Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. Next, we will implement grade level PLC meetings. So with our teachers having common plans, this will allow for them to collaborate on a weekly basis. And once again, during this time, they can work on strategies in order to help balance out the phonemic and phonetic skills, reading comprehension, and then also the integrated reading and writing within the curriculum. And then lastly, we need to provide professional development training and application. All of our teachers will need to be trained within these new differentiated instruction techniques and also with the new reading program. And then also our ESOL teachers need to be trained as well in order to better help our 5% of our student population whose primary language is not English. And this will provide the support that those students need within the classroom. Category 4 would be debriefing the problem. And then this would ask us to reflect on our thinking, feeling, and values. What I was initially thinking was that student learning needs to be the top priority of the school. There are gaps and there are low scores that need to be addressed within the school, and so changes will need to be made. But what changes will be made in order to help improve the student learning? And then how do I go about convincing others that these changes are going to be effective and address the issues that we have at hand? What I was feeling was our school is not currently set up to help these students and their needs. We also need to get everybody on the same page so that we're all working together towards the one goal of improving our student reading skills. And then how can I get teachers to improve their weaknesses as well? What I value is individual student learning, proper professional development in their techniques that can be used within the classroom, and then the use of data and analysis in order to identify problems and go about using that data in order to bring about solutions as well. And then finally, teachers and students both alike. Unresolved issues that are open to further investigation. 1, can we make these changes even if we do not get the grant money? 2, how will the changes be received by the teachers, students, parents, and other interest groups within our community? And then what additional resources may be needed in order to properly train our teachers within the reading program and the differentiated instruction strategies. Category 5 asks us to reflect on Standard 8, which is stated right there. First, how did I act as an agent for continuous improvement by engaging families and communities in meaningful, reciprocal, and mutual beneficial ways? The first example I provided was immediate response to the PTO letter by addressing the reading concerns. Second, I sought recommendations from the district reading supervisor and devised a plan using her recommendations to address the areas of those concerns, and then started acting on that plan. And then third, I planned a meeting with the PTO in order to inform them of the school's ideas to address these reading issues. Next, how did I use the data presented to respond and communicate to the larger community their concerns about the instructional program? First, I met with the PTO to share the data that was collected and the plan that we have in place in order to address the areas that need improvement. Second, I provided a district newsletter to all the parents, giving them information about the possible changes for next year. And then third, I posted those possible changes and the schedule changes to the school and district website so that other outside personnel will be informed on the situation. How did I use my knowledge of policies, laws, and regulations that govern the school to influence and bring about a positive change in teaching and learning that impact all students? My first example was finding curriculum that better fits the needs of our students while also addressing the current Common Core standards. Second example was providing whole staff development on differentiation and reading strategies in order to address the individual student learning needs. And then third, I applied for the ESA grant on time in order to get those additional funds that may be needed in order to develop our new reading program. Last, how did I establish an ongoing dialogue with the decision makers outside of the school concerning the efforts of the teachers and students and how these decision makers can effectively influence the improvement of instruction and student performance? My first example was bringing in the reading supervisor from the district in order to address the concerns and needs that we have for the current reading curriculum. In doing this, I was seeking outside help and in the data collection process and identifying the areas that we need to address. Second, I kept the parents and other community members informed on the changes that were taking place at our school. And in doing this, I allow for opportunities for them to also take part in the changes and being a part of that. Example 3, I collaborated with other leadership within the district in order to help build positive relationships and then also help promote maybe change at their schools as well. That is the end of my module 15. Thank you.